We're going to use Microsoft PowerPoint to create a presentation. What I am going to explain to you is equally as valid with other presentation creation applications that there are out there. Firstly, we'll take a look at what is high definition. We're doing that because the presentation that you're going to create will be viewed on a high definition screen. The screen could either be a TV or a cinema type screen where the image will be projected onto it. Hence, to ensure as clear a viewed image as possible, you need to know the resolution of a high definition screen. And that is 1920 by 1080 pixels. That way, when you select an image to include on a slide, you can select one which has as high a resolution as you can find. If you select one with too low a resolution, then it will be displayed in a pixelated format. I'll demonstrate this in a slide to come. A word of warning here. The high definition screen will also be in a 16 by 9 format. Now, an old style TV is a 4 by 3 format. And if you're using an older copy of Microsoft Office or PowerPoint, you'll need to select a widescreen template, as by default some of them may well produce a 4 by 3 presentation. So once we fire up PowerPoint, we have the options to create a blank presentation, and there's a few other options as well, including the options to open some that you've recently done. On the right hand side there, you can see in red more themes. So if we click on the more themes, we get an expanded display which shows quite a few of the available ones. You can always create your own. So what we'll do to start off with is just create a plain blank presentation. And so this will be just simply white. I've just added the text and name there to it. If we now move on to the next slide, if we want to insert another slide, we click on the insert menu and then click on the down arrow next to the new slide, as you can see by that left arrow. And then you're presented with a few page templates. You can choose whichever form you want, and then that style of template will be introduced into the project. So here I've added a couple, but now you'll notice that there could potentially be an issue. With a plain white background, the result can be a bit overpowering and difficult to see as the white dominates. Hence, it is more pleasing on viewers' eyes if the background is coloured. So what we do there is we select our slide, right click and select format background. And on the right hand side there of that little window, you can see where it says solid fill. Then further down you can see colour. So you can click on where it says colour and select the one that you want to use. And then that will be applied to the slide. And then you have to do that for each of the slides. And so when you add a new slide, you're presented with a couple of default text boxes. And you can add the text into it, which is the header or whatever it is you want to use. And then if you want to add, say, an image that you have on your computer, click on the icon that looks like a picture behind a monitor. And that will open up a window for you to view your pictures and select one from. So once you've added an image, you find the image will be presented like this, whereby you can rotate the image with the control at the top, or you can use the size adjustment handles, which are the little white dots on each of the sides, to size the image to suit. Now, before we progress, I'll explain about image resolution. This is an image that I've chosen off the internet and then saved it to the downloads folder on my PC. If I then right click on the image and select properties, I can see that it is 276 by 182 pixels in width and height. Now what that will happen is when we expand that image, it will pixelate quite badly. So hence this is a case of size really does matter. If I show you the next slide, which is a higher resolution image, it's one that is not quite in focus, but the detail you can still see in the feathers there. If I now put them side by side, you can see the chaffinch on the left is quite badly pixelated compared to the much higher resolution robin on the right. Size matters. Always try to use as large a resolution image as you can. We can add an image directly from a web page. You need the browser window and PowerPoint to be open and both visible. In the browser window, select the image by a left click and hold, then drag it into the PowerPoint screen and then release the hold. What we'll find is that the size of the image screen that you see will determine how good or bad it will appear by the time it is expanded to fill the slide. So hence, as high a resolution image as possible. So let's just recap. You can literally click and hold and drag and drop to move an image from a web page onto the slide. And hence we get Mr. Robin back there. Now there's another way of doing it, which is what I prefer, and what we're going to do here is we're going to click on the image. You can see there, right click and then select Save Image As. We'll then navigate to where we want to save it to and click on Save. And so here it's saved into my art folder as Annuncia.jpg. What I can then do is I can highlight that image, right click and select Properties, and this is the property window you can see, and if you click on Details, we then get what the resolution is displayed in the dimension and the width by height pixel, and then from that we can decide whether or not we want to actually use that image on the presentation. So the resolution of the image you want to include is paramount. If you want to avoid a pixelated image on the screen, you may have to undertake considerable amount of search work to find a source website that has images of sufficient quality for your needs. Now, another useful feature within PowerPoint and with the other presentation softwares available is you can include your presenter notes with the slide. So what you do then is go to the View menu and click on Notes, and then underneath you'll get an extra pane displayed where you can add the text that you wish to convey to your audience. Once you have completed adding the presenter notes to each slide, you can then print them out and include an image of the slide. There are other features that are available. Basically there's a myriad of style templates that are available for you to use, and each of those can be previewed in its different formats by selecting it and then click on Create, and that's going to be your default setting for that particular project. So this is one which we've created where we're just going to use a photo gallery, adding some additional slides to it and then adding the photos, and you can see them on the left hand pane there, highlighting the bottom one there. We've got 3 images side by side, and that's an expanded view. Other additional features: items that are placed in the slide can be animated. Their entrance and exit can be animated individually or both. You select animations from the menu and then select the effect. The slide you're viewing, or the presentation you're viewing, can also be recorded in a video. So all you have to do is play the recorded MP4 video file, and that will explain everything. There's more that PowerPoint can do and how it can be used, but a lot of what is found in Word can be carried over into PowerPoint. So what I would suggest is that you work through your presentation slide by slide, refining it. Add your presenter notes. Do remember to save the presentation regularly, especially just before you shut down your computer. Once you've shut down your computer, the workflow that I actually suggest is you leave it for a few days and then revisit it and refine it as required. Next, we'll look at printing out the slides. Literally, you just go to File, Print, and then select the layout. So you can just select the full printout of the slides, or if you want the slides and presenter notes, then you would select the handouts, the third option, 3 slides. So that will have the 3 slides and the presenter notes adjacent to it. And so that's all, folks.